So the Daytona road course happened this week, and for the most part, the race started pretty tame. I mean, it was your typical, like, run-of-the-mill Daytona road course race with Chase Elliott dominating, and of course, it started from the pole, so he went to that straight away. Of course, I expected Mike McDowell to do good, and then once again, he just blew the first corner. It was an uphill climb. He still finished in the top 10 though, so that was actually that's actually pretty good for him. Kyle Busch struggling as well. Um, Ever since lap one, I think he got into an incident, and I believe he docked the fender in, and he got a small tire rub. Typical Kyle Busch in the radio. He said the car was killed, and then he eventually drove his way back into the top 10. I think for parts of the race he was top 5. And then he got into an incident with Austin Dillon and hit the wall and just had a bad finish. Just a typical Kyle Busch day. Just a typical Kyle Busch race. We've seen that since 2020. It's nothing new for us Kyle Busch fans to just expect something from him, because every time Kyle Busch has a bad race and he starts a race like this with an incident, he has to work his way up, and towards the end of the race, when you feel like he can salvage a top 10 finish out of this, or even a top 5, something happens. He gets taken out in the most BS way possible, or the most unexpected way possible, and he ends up with a bad finish. Like, this has happened numerous times. It's not the first time it's happened in his career, but of course it feels like it's more common now in 2020, and it looks to be like that this season. Of course, Kyle Busch will struggle. I expect Kyle Busch to struggle mightily with Ben Beshore as his new crew chief. He still has a lot to learn. It's going to be an uphill climb, but I still expect him to right the ship and end up winning this race. Of course, the fact that COVID is still going on, and practice and qualifying is still not at. I mean, practice and qualifying is up at some tracks, but not at all tracks. So this 2021 season is still going to be kind of. It's still going to be kind of out of the norm. I don't expect it to be as bad as 2020, but it's gonna be an uphill. It's gonna be an uphill battle for this 18 team. Anyways, the race was pretty much like quintessential Chase Elliott dominance, or at least it looked to be, until that BS caution happened. NASCAR apparently reported some raindrops coming off of in the turn 2 area, and of course the forecast for the race stated that it was going to be sunny with, or at the very least partially cloudy towards the end of the race. But of course, you have to remember that it's Daytona Beach, Florida, and you can never trust the radar when it comes to Florida weather. The radar may say one thing, and then something else may happen. That's how Florida weather is. And I interacted with a few guys on Twitter that are from Florida, and they can attest to that Florida weather is unpredictable. So for the most part, I can see why NASCAR threw the caution for rain when there were like a few raindrops there. But almost as soon as the caution came out, it's almost as if the rain just magically disappeared, which of course made everybody just assume that there was no rain in there, and NASCAR just threw that caution to manufacture drama. Now the funny thing is that when NASCAR does this, throws this BS like phantom cautions, many people say that it's to give Chase Elliott a chance. Well, in this case, NASCAR threw a caution that actually screwed over Chase Elliott. So when people say that NASCAR just helps their most popular driver want to get a win, no, that's not true. NASCAR doesn't do that stuff. It doesn't rig the races in favor of their most popular driver. Of course, you can say Talladega 2015. That's still a topic of debate up to this day. But in general, NASCAR does not rig races for their popular drive, for the most popular driver to win, but they do manufacture like race fixing, throwing BS cautions like that. They do that to create some drama. Whether their most popular driver wins or not, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that Chase Elliott was way too dominant, and maybe NASCAR failed. The thought process was that, well, we see a few raindrops coming, a few teams are reporting rain. Let's just throw that caution out, and that was pretty stupid, in my opinion. I think they should have let them race, because this is not the first time it has happened. Okay, this is not the first time this has happened, but I just feel like this time it was a bit more egregious, because the skies were pretty sunny. It was like partially cloudy, but as soon as the caution came out, the sun came out again. It was sunny again. So this time it was more egregious than last times, because the other times NASCAR has thrown these phantom cautions for raindrops, the skies were pretty cloudy, so you can actually reason that, well, maybe there were a few raindrops falling on the track, but not this time, because as soon as the caution came out, the sky was back like sunny, or at the very least partially cloudy, but the sun was coming out. So of course, that sparked some controversy, saying that NASCAR does this all the time. BS cautions, first debris cautions, and then fake weather cautions for raindrops. Look, Florida weather is unpredictable, and of course, there were a few drivers that were reporting raindrops, but then again, I can see where people are coming from, because I can agree, this is not the first time NASCAR has done this, and this ended up screwing over a lot of people's races, most notably Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr., who were like, he screwed over a potential win for either of those guys, or at the very least a top 5 day. And Truex, I believe he finished outside the top 10. Elliott finished 21st because he was trying to charge his way back up to the front, and he got into incidents with Corey LaJoie, and then he got involved in a stack up with Keselowski, and he got spun out by Hamlin. Of course, he was the driver that was the most affected for that. And in the end, because in order to close this out, NASCAR should just let them race. If there's just a few raindrops out on the track, NASCAR should just let them race. Because there have been several instances of NASCAR reporting a few raindrops on the track, and they have held out from throwing the caution. This has happened several times. I can't remember a specific time it happened, but there have been several times where NASCAR has thrown out the caution. There have been a few raindrops falling on the track, but because it's just a drizzle, like a small drizzle, and it doesn't really affect the cars that much, NASCAR doesn't throw the caution. And it ends up being the right call, because it doesn't end up being a downpour, or it ends up not raining at all. So it ended up being the right call. In my opinion, that's what it should have happened. NASCAR should have just let them race and see what happens. And even the guys in the booth were calling it, like Mike Joy and Jeff Gordon were saying, sure, the caution may have come out for rain, but I see the track clean, so if I were you, I wouldn't put those rain tires on. And of course, nobody pitted during that caution. Now, of course, and yeah, that's that. Finally, the finish of the race. Another first-time winner, which just adds to the unpredictability of this season. Christopher Bell, man. Christopher Bell just the big surprise of the race. I mean, Christopher Bell actually had top 5 speed ever since stage 2 started. But of course, you can actually say that rain caution actually helped him, because he was running second to Chase Elliott, but I don't know if he would have caught him, because the only guy that could challenge Chase Elliott was Martin Truex Jr. and maybe Denny Hamlin. Christopher Bell was like a top 5 car, like the 4th best car at best. But of course, that rain caution shuffled everything up, and Christopher Bell, in that last caution, I believe he took some fresh tires. And man, tires were everything in that race. Like, we saw it in the Xfinity race last night with that amazing restart that Ty Gibbs had. We also had an amazing restart for Christopher Bell. that was that was just amazing. The way he just ran down Joe Logano, and Joe Logano just tried to block him. He tried to block as much as he did to Keselowski in the 500. That was just that was kind of funny. Of course, in the end, Bell ended up passing him on the outside, and because he had the fresh rubber, he immediately pulled away from him, and he just cruised to a win. And that was a great finish, honestly. Not only because the finish, not only because the race was supposed to be like a Chase Elliott dominance fest, but because of course the caution was BS, but it added to the unpredictability of it. It made the race interesting. You cannot deny that, even if it was for the wrong reasons why the caution was thrown out. You cannot deny that, but yeah, race was good. Even if a bit controversial, the finish was good. We got a first-time winner. Shout out to Christopher Bell, winning in that 20 car in his second start. Now the people who said that Eric Jones was gonna improve that 43 car looking pretty silly now, because his replacement, Eric Jones' replacement, just won his second race. He won his first career race in the Cup Series when it took Eric Jones a year and a half to win. Half a season in the 20. Christopher Bell took the checker flag in just his second race of driving the 20. It took Eric Jones half a season driving the 20 to win that race, to win his first career race, or even his first race in the 20 car. But it was also his first career win for Eric Jones in that case. But yeah, you get the point. Even if Eric Jones was just screwed over, right now choosing Christopher Bell over Eric Jones looks like it was the right call for Joe Gibbs, even if it was a bit BS. And yeah, that's the end of my review.